pocket. There's tons of range right now pre-market. So this Qualcomm's definitely on watch. It's a billion share float, so I won't chase this gap up. You know, if it pulls back hard and starts a round or something, I'll take a gander at it. Otherwise, you know, I'm not that interested in taking like a stock that's got a billion share float and, you know, like chasing it up 20 points. So yeah, let this thing pull back if you're going to play this. The chart is awesome. Obviously, you got a lot of volume on it yesterday, so you definitely got some play on this thing, but I wouldn't chase this thing up. This Tuffin's already got the range. I was hoping, so this was my favorite play for today, and this little sucker's already kind of busting through, gapping up pre-market due to the hype of the rest of the IPOs. What a little hoe. I was hoping for flat open on this one, but you know, we're not getting it. I won't chase this thing up. And the reason I won't probably chase this thing up is, you know, I'm curious. This JMI is kind of a blow-off right now. You know, it closed at 43. That's gapping up 10 points at this point. I know a lot of you guys have been trading it very well. These are one of the stocks you never get as many points out of it as you think, but you get enough, right? And this might be just a blow-off top. So, you know, my worry on it is that, you know, if this thing blows off, does it take down the rest of the IPOs with it? Or does the money that's pouring in this one flow into the, you know, the rest of them like Tuffin or TW? We won't necessarily know till the market opens and we start to see that kind of price action. I won't chase up this JMI up 10 points, even if this thing had a picture-perfect ORB or something like that. An 18% gap on a day 4 move, right? So you think about this, you've had 3 days of 10-point moves. This would be the day 4 of a 10-point move. I can't personally try to shred that kind of thing. It's just not going to, you know, definitely not my cup of tea. It's going to be a little bit. Only way I trade this one today is if it does kind of what it did yesterday, which is, you know, if it flushes down at the open, say you retrace like a good chunk of today's gains, you know, half or more, and you start to kind of pull back and round, like, and you're under the VWAP, then when it kind of patrols back higher, I think that's when, you know, we'll have something like that, that you could trade. But, like, I won't try to chase this thing up like something like this or anything like that. You would really need a big flush at this point on a day 4. To get it. If you've got borrows on it, it'd actually probably be at some point on, you know, spikes and lower highs of decent short. Netflix got earnings out today too. You know, you got kind of this 370 mark is going to be a little bit of a supply zone. If you can get over that, you may have a chance. This one's also one of those ones, right? Like you've been trending all of pre-market. You don't have to necessarily wait for the ORB. You know, wake up a little earlier and you're going to, you know, have a pizza party with some of these things. But you got a big base here. If you got a big base here, you can break over. This is one of those stocks too, man. The algos take over on this thing and they can push. It's in a longer-term consolidation here. So if you start to clear those levels, I think that's where you get really excited on the long-term prospects of that. This BK looks okay. This would be like Carnegie Mellon or some shit. I haven't traded bank stock in forever, but the daily's definitely showing breakdown. It's already got pretty good range pre-market, so I think that something like this, we could, you know, we could definitely put this on the list, and this would be the first time I traded a bank stock in, you know, like a decade. Let's see what else we got here. ZYNE, I think this one breaks out any day at this point, you know. So after that big push in the base breakout, you're starting to get a flag pattern over here. Watch this kind of zone around like 860, 870. I think that could take it out. This TW finally had its first down day. You've got a nice support here at 40. So, you know, if it builds any pattern over 40, I think that, you know, we can watch this thing for curls for the girls back up to the upside. You know, IPOs is still the hot sector. So remember, today's a big gap. So when you get a big gap, you don't want to just chase like a random stock that you have for technical analysis. Like if you're watching NVIDIA or some shit, you know, these will all just gap with the market, right? You know, so you can't really chase these things up into the hole. You know, you're going to have to play pockets of sector momentum which is IPOs, and then you'll have to play stocks that have earnings out. Those are the ones that are going to move regardless to what's happening with the market. Now, if the market itself pulls back and sets up, that's when you can load your technical analysis, pure technical analysis plays. This Levi did not go yesterday. This was kind of one of our top watches for yesterday, but it didn't even show a pattern to even play. So I still got this on the watch. I think this Yeti could break out any day also. You're right in this like sweet spot. You're coiling up. See how the ranges get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. As this range starts to coil, at some point you're just not going to have anywhere to go except to bust higher. So definitely that one's on watch list too. GH looks okay still. GoDaddy's still flagging out. You know, this excess we put on the list yesterday, it had a really nice push at the open, and then it was like, it just died the rest of the day. So we'll have to see how this one acts, because like usually at a breakout spot, like I want to see that thing close above the breakout at least. You know, otherwise it's no good. ANTM was a hot one yesterday, so you got this pretty big range on this. I'd be watching this one. If it pops up again, it goes green to red. Like, don't be afraid to just take this thing short and, you know, have like a nice breakdown. As long as it hangs out below that 250 mark, I think that you're going to have a chance to still keep shorting this one. Same thing with that MO8. These are very, very key breakdowns. I know it's a little bit expensive stock. Sometimes you guys don't like them. But if you think if a stock has a $25 range, I mean, what's easier to play? Something that's got a $25 range, even if you're trading 50 shares or 100 shares of it, it's easier to trade this than try to get into, you know, some turd like an RNN. I mean, this is a turdzilla, right? You can, you know, just because you can buy a couple hundred shares of this doesn't mean it's any good, right? This thing's a turd with fleas. So, you know, think about like range expansion more than necessarily the price of a stock. Same thing with this Mo. I got this on watch for, you know, a potential day two. So, you know, we had a big range yesterday. So we went green to red. You know, we had $17 range on this thing. I think that same type of scenarios yesterday applies. If you get a quick spike off on this at the open, watch this thing for the green to red move. If it comes in, we may get another big day on this thing. You know, you've got a really good range on it. The only issue with this one versus ANTM is this one did a little bit less volume, so there was a lack of liquidity that I saw on this one at the open, where and these things are running together, where ANTM had, you know, a little bit more volume, so like you weren't getting such an e-liquid stock. Condemnation, yeah, that RNN is a hoe. Let me see, PRPO, and this thing's probably a hoe too. It does have big volume on this thing, but this thing's probably a turd, you know, and it's hard to chase this thing up, you know, if it started to move. So if you were in this thing at like 25 cents, you're good to go, right? But like if you're trying to buy it at 50 cents, it's not going to give you necessarily the heat that you want. When you're trading these kind of like smaller stocks, you want to make sure that you get them like right at the inflection point. You don't want to chase them higher, because the inherent risk is just so much on these things. This Exxon looks slow to me. I think there's a lot better kind of oily stocks out there. Like this one doesn't move very well. You know, there's other ones like EOG and stuff that have like a lot better range on them, you know, if you like oil stocks. But in general, I mean, none of these are showing like breakout charts per se. They're just kind of showing like that they're okay. This QFIN is kind of nice. You know, you could put this on your watch list. I saw this on my scan last night, but I didn't put it on my list because it didn't have any liquidity in it, right? So if it doesn't have any volume, it doesn't have any liquidity, it's hard to get in and out. So something like this doesn't pass the muster for me. But if you've got, you know, if you're trading like smaller shares and stuff, I think that it definitely could work. I don't think that today's going to be a hot day to trade, to be honest, just due to the size of the gap in the market. But, you know, we'll keep it up and see what's going on. And we'll have a little fun today regardless. You guys know where I'll be. Peace.